fraction operations leading to mixed fractions. So at this point, you should know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide fractions. If you don't, I have videos on all of these back on my YouTube channel, EduK8 Collection. But really quickly, let me review how to add and subtract fractions. You should know that when we are adding or subtracting fractions that have the same denominator, we keep that denominator and simply add or subtract, depending on which operation, the numerators. So 1 plus 1 is 2, and as always, you need to simplify your fractions. Both 2 and 4 can be divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 1/4 plus 1/4 is 1/2. Sometimes you may need to add or subtract fractions that do not have the same denominator. For example, if I needed to add 2/5 plus 1/3, notice that they do not have the same denominator. And so I need to basically create two equivalent fractions that have the same denominator. And to do this, I need to find the greatest common or the least common multiple of 5 and 3. So 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 3 is 15, 5 times 4 is 20. I'm going to stop there, but I can continue if I needed to. 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12, and 3 times 5 is 15. I've noticed that I have a common multiple, and so that is going to be my least common multiple, and therefore my new denominator. Well, in order for 5 to have become 15, it needed to be multiplied by 3. And so I must do the same thing for the numerator. 2 times 3 is 6. Well, in order for 3 to become 15, I need to multiply 3 by 5. So I must do the same thing to that numerator. 1 times 5 is 5. Notice that now they have the same denominator. So I can follow the rules like we did up here, where I'm keeping the denominator, 15, and I'm simply adding the numerators. 6 plus 15 is 11, and that cannot be simplified. In both of those previous examples, my answer came out to a simple fraction. But sometimes we may be adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing fractions and find that they lead to a mixed fraction. So a great example of this would be 2/4 plus 3/4. They have the same denominator, so I'm going to keep it as 4. But when I add my numerators, 2 plus 3, notice I have what's called an improper fraction. An improper, let me write that. An improper fraction is when the numerator is greater than the denominator. Usually, you need to change this into what's called a mixed fraction. So if I take this 5/4 and I kind of expand it, seeing how 5/4 is 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. Right? Because 5/4 is basically 1/4 5 times. Well, if I group together 4 of these 1/4s, and I follow the rules of adding with the same denominator, all 4 of these have the same denominator, so my answer will be over 4, and now I just add the numerators. Well, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. I have created a fraction that is 4 over 4, and any number over itself is equal to 1. So I can kind of group these 4/4 and change it into 1. So the 4/4 becomes a 1, and what I have left over is one more 1/4, which I just tack on to the end. So 2/4 plus 3/4 is 5/4, written as an improper, and now I can change it into 1 and 1/4, which is a mixed fraction. Let's try one more example in which the numerators are not the same. The denominators are not the same. So let's say I have 8/3. This is an improper, but for the sake of this problem, we're going to leave it that way. And I need to add it to 5/6. So right away, I should notice that my denominators are not the same. So I need to change both of these fractions into equivalent fractions that have the same denominator. So to do this, I am going to find the least common multiple of 3 and 6. So 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, and I can actually stop right there because 6 times 1 is 6, so I have found my least common multiple of 6, which means that both of my fractions need to be changed into equivalent fractions with the numerator or denominator of 6. So I have to ask myself, how can 3 become 6 using multiplication? Well, 3 times 2 is 6, so I must do the same to the numerator. 8 times 2 is 16. In this case, I don't actually have to change our second fraction because it already has that same denominator. Now, I can follow the rules we stated previously, where I keep the denominator 6 and I add the numerators. 16 plus 5 is 21. What I have here is an improper fraction because the numerator, 21, is greater than the denominator, 6. So I'm going to take that 21 over 6 and I need to change it into a mixed fraction. To do this, I need to find how many wholes do I have. And by a whole, because the denominator is 6, I mean how many 6 can I create out of 21? Well, there's 1 6 6. Here's another 6 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. We're getting closer to 21. If I added another 6 6, now I have 6 plus 6 plus 6. I'm at 18. And in order to get from 18 to 21, I would need to add another 3 6. Each of these 6 over 6 is an equivalent to 1. 6 over 6 is 1, 6 over 6 is 1, 6 over 6 is 1. So in total, I have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to shift my screen here a little bit. I have 3 whole numbers plus this leftover 3 6. So 3 over 6. As with any fraction, we always need to simplify it. So 3 can be divided by 3 and 6 can be divided by 3. So I leave my whole number the same. Let me shift a little bit more. So I still have my whole number of 3 from right here, but I can then simplify in the fraction part of this mixed fraction. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. And there I have a mixed fraction.